Hey, this is Yoshino, and I just finished a workout, and I wanted to start doing these solo cast episodes mainly to just get things off my chest, I guess, and to talk about, certain things that really matter to me and that impact me. And one of the main things I like to do on a daily basis is work out every day. I actually just got done doing a workout right now, and if you know me personally, then you'll know that working out is very important to me. Mainly because I like to get creative in like every aspect of my life, and not just in the arts, but really trying to be creative in everything. And I think that we get in this habit of thinking that creativity is a linear process, but we can literally get creative in anything that you do, from cleaning the house to listening to different books and getting ideas while running. And another thing that I really like to do is go on these long runs. And I actually just took up running. I mean, I've always been an athlete, but this year in particular I took up running mainly because I did a run in January with my partner, and she really pushed me. She wasn't even trying to push me, but just the process of running and being uncomfortable, it really just was kind of eye-opening, because I've always been an athlete. But my athletic prowess before was mainly martial arts, which I know I talk a lot about on the podcast, and I really got into running, actually. And actually, let me look at my Garmin. So I'm on Garmin and I use Strava as well. But Garmin, you can calculate the distance like on monthly. I think you can do it on Strava too. But I just want to break this down, because I also think about getting 1% better at something all the time. And if you put your focus in that specific thing, you can see progress over time. And so I'm just going to break this down really quick. So I got this Garmin watch in February, and according to this, I ran 5.1 miles, which isn't a lot, but I also came off of a knee injury, and I tore my meniscus doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2019, and that was in July, and then I got a repair on my meniscus in August of 2019. So honestly, I didn't think that I could even run. So for me to tell you about my running experiences, it's actually very impactful for me. But so last month in September of 2020, I ran 124.9 miles, and which is close to 200 kilometers. I think that's the same. It's 200 kilometers is 125 miles about. And I'm going to be running that or a little bit more this month in October as well. But basically in February, I ran 5.1 miles. March, I ran 16.3. April, I ran 22.5. May, I ran 43.5. June, I ran 57.8. July, I ran 65.4. August, I ran 68. And then September, I ran 124.9 miles. And I think this is really important to state, just because this is, for me, an example of how you can get 1% better at something over time. And I think with working out, you can see those results. You can see it in your body. You can see it in the way that you feel in your mood. But I really like to take that approach with everything. I started this podcast, and I knew that by having these conversations with a lot of people, that over the course of time, all that knowledge would compound and it would turn into something. And it did, because I started No Wave with my business partner, Justin Hopkins, who is also the co-host of this podcast. And, it's just interesting, because I think a lot of the time we get imposter syndrome on a lot of things. And I'm not quite sure where that comes from. Maybe I can dissect that with a psychologist or something later on for a later episode. But, I've been doing a lot of reading on various subjects. I read all sorts of different books, from feminist literature to financial stuff and investing tips to, autobiographies, and listening to a lot of podcasts and all sorts of things. But just the idea of that 1% better and compounding over time, you can see that definitely in investing. So a book that I think is really good is Millionaire Next Door. That book, and Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money. I thought those two books were really great. And another thing that I've been thinking about a lot this year is just habits. And James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, that book was very impactful. And the main thing that I was talking about is creating systems in your life in order to create new habits. So I was talking about working out right now because, I use Strava a lot. And with Strava, you can see how many miles, for instance, with running, that you've ran over the course of time. And utilizing this and the Garmin watch together has really given me a foundation to be able to calculate all of those slight changes. I must state, though, that me personally, I'm very much like a schedule person. I like to see progress, and I put everything on a calendar. And a lot of my friends actually make fun of me because they say that I schedule basically every single thing in my life, which isn't necessarily true, but I can see why people would say that. If you look at my calendar, then you would understand why people would say that. And if anyone's interested in that, actually, I can give an example on that. You can DM me on Instagram at Yoshino Studios, and or on our podcast at Decoded. Wow, it's really windy out there. I don't know if anyone can hear that, but I'm at my new house in the desert, and it's a windy day. I was actually going to be doing this solo cast on a walk, but I decided to just lock myself in my garage office / workout area. But a big thing that I've been thinking about recently, maybe it's because I'm in this sort of transitionary period in my life, but I've been thinking a lot about a chief aim. And initially, that idea came from Neville Goddard. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That wasn't Neville Goddard. That was Napoleon Hill. So Napoleon Hill talks about a definite chief aim. And this is something that has been reminded to me by my really good friend, Mitch Horowitz. And Mitch and I are actually in a mastermind, and we're currently reading his book off Napoleon Hill's teachings. And Mitch came out with a book called The Miracle of a Definite Chief Aim. And so I've been thinking about this because, so there's this example, for instance, that Bruce Lee had, and where he put down his definite chief aim. And let me see if I can find this actually. Bruce Lee definite chief aim. Okay, so Bruce Lee wrote this down, and let me read it to you. So my definite chief aim: I, Bruce Lee, will be the first highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performances and render the best of quality and the capacity of an actor. Starting in 1970, I will achieve world fame, and from then onward till the end of 1980, I will have in my possession $10 million. I will live the way I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness. So obviously, there's a couple of really good things in here. There's the social aspect. I think a lot of people look at Bruce Lee because he really was a huge voice for Asian Americans, especially during that time when, you know, there was like interviews with him, and, you know, I think people would be very respectful but kind of myopic in a lot of ways, and I think that was because of the culture during that time. And also, you know, he's talking about making a certain amount of money. And so, you know, really I think about this definite chief aim, and I've been thinking about that a lot for myself, and sometimes, at least for me, it's like understanding what you want to contribute to. So a big thing for me is wanting to contribute to the arts, wanting to help other people. And, you know, I've noticed that, you know, this can go back to the 1% change sort of a thing, and the compounding effect of that. But, you know, when I started this podcast, I was thinking a lot about being of value to people and how to be of value to people. And, you know, I really want to, I mean, maybe this is part of the reason why I want to do these solo cast episodes now, but I really want to continue to have that spirit going forward. You know, there's a lot of things that, you know, sometimes I think about the creative process as this battle of attrition almost, you know. Maybe it could be a war with yourself, or, you know, a war of outside forces, you know, to you that challenge you along the way. But there's also a lot of beauty to that as well, because these things that challenge you along the way, they teach you a lot about who you are and why you do the things that you do, right? Assuming that we're all self-reflective people. But the good thing about being an artist is that you allow yourself to have these mediums to convey a message. So, for instance, this podcast is a really good way to be able to get ideas, to share ideas. And yeah, I mean, I don't have all the answers, but I'm out there and I want to search for the answers. I want to bring interesting guests on this platform and hopefully present interesting ideas. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's all that I really have to say for today. But if you have any questions about this, you can DM me at Decoded on Instagram, or DM me on my personal one at Yoshino Studios. I'd be happy to get everyone's feedback on just different things, maybe things to talk about. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.